Welcome everyone to a Facebook and Parse hosted live stream, increasing downloads to your Parse-Powered app using mobile app install ads. My name is Ashley Smith and I'm the Director of Marketing here at Parse. And joining me today from Facebook is Neha, who is a Product Marketing Manager on the mobile app install ads team, and Christine, who is a Platform Engineer on the ads team. We're coming at you live from Facebook headquarters in Menlo Park, and we're going to have a panel discussion about mobile app install ads, followed by a Q&A. So to submit a question, simply click the green button. It's on your screen. Type your question, click submit, and we'll get to as many of those as we can. So a little bit about Parse. If you're unfamiliar, Parse is an application development platform. So what that means is you take care of the front end. So things like creating a beautiful user experience, the design, really tailoring your app to your customers. And we take care of the back end. So back end, what is that? Data storage, push notifications, and if you've never done push notifications, they're really tricky to get started with without Parse. So also we have this thing called Cloud Code. So what Cloud Code does is it allows you to do custom endpoints in the cloud. So you can do things like send an SMS with Twilio, do transactional email with SendGrid, and even do a mobile store with Stripe, which is a really, really good way to empower your app. We also have Parse hosting. So with Parse hosting, you can create a companion website for your Parse-powered app or a standalone website. It's a really powerful way to drive more traffic to your app as well. So in addition to these back-end features, we also have some really, really nice interfaces for you to get started. So things like we have a data browser for technical and non-technical users to edit data. We have the push browser, which allows you to schedule, set up, and send push campaigns. We also have something called analytics. So with analytics, you can measure your push notifications. You can do things like look at app opens. It's a really, really powerful tool for technical and non-technical users to kind of dive into the app without having to touch code. But enough about Parse. So Christine, Neha, welcome. So good to have you.
Thanks. Excited to be here.
Awesome. So first question is for you, Neha. I know I keep saying mobile app install ads, it's a mouthful. Can you just tell us what that is?
Yeah, it is a mouthful, but the name says it all. So if you think about it, there's so many great apps out there, but if you just look at the number of apps in the App Store, Google Play, it's over 1.6 million apps.
Wow.
So it is hard to get discovered, and mobile app install ads helps you with just that. So mobile app install ads is an ad that shows up in Facebook's mobile feed. You click on it, and as soon as you click on it, it takes you to the App Store or Google Play to automatically download and install the app, which is great. I think another thing that makes this product so good is just the relevant reach. So one, we have massive reach through Facebook. There are over 750 million people using our app on mobile. In addition to that, we have just such great targeting. So you're reaching the right customers and the right people with your ad.
Right. So you mentioned targeting. One big problem in marketing and doing marketing campaigns is targeting the wrong people.
Yeah.
So how does Facebook handle targeting?
Great question. So we have a lot of targeting options, and everything that mobile app install ads has to offer is also available through our desktop and other mobile ads of ours. So for mobile app install ads, you have all this targeting features possible that's available through Facebook. If you look at the high level, you can do things such as basic demographic targeting and even interest-based targeting and social targeting. So this is taking information that's available through your public profile or activities on your timeline. In addition, because mobile app install ads is a mobile ad product, there's specific mobile targeting that was created for this product. So, for example, in a very high level, you can target iOS and Android separately. So if you're just interested in reaching people who have iOS devices, then take it a level deeper, you can target a specific version. So let's say your app is available on iOS 4.0 and greater, and so you just want to reach people on iOS 4.0 and greater. You can do that. Then you also have the option of targeting smartphones versus tablets. So for an iPhone, so for iOS, it's iPhone versus iPad. For Android, it's any tablets versus any smartphones. And we also have the option of just reaching people on Wi-Fi.
Okay. So, reaching people in Wi-Fi is interesting, but why does it matter if they're Wi-Fi or if they're on, Verizon or AT&T? What's the difference?
Some apps and developers prefer reaching people specifically on Wi-Fi because when you're on Wi-Fi, you may have the option of actually downloading larger size files. And a lot of times when you're on a tablet and you're on Wi-Fi, you're more likely to consume a lot of information too. So it's just another option that is available to people.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. So custom audience is something I've heard a lot about. Can you kind of go into that and explain to our audience what that is?
Yeah, so custom audience is actually a great feature that we offer, and it's unique to Facebook. So it's the ability to actually upload your own information. So let's say information that a developer has onto Facebook, and then layer in Facebook specific targeting. So the kind of information you can upload is hashed email addresses, hashed Facebook UID, hashed phone numbers.
Okay. So
that allows you to just even have more refined targeting. It's easier to probably explain through examples too. So an example would be for if you have, let's say, an app that's cross-platform. So you have a desktop app and a mobile app, and you know all of your users on desktop through, let's say, their email addresses or Facebook UID. You can actually reach them and let them know that you have a mobile app and tell them to install the mobile app. You can also do this, for example, if you have like a basic app and you want to tell those people on the basic app to install the premium app, or you have a developer who has multiple apps and knows who's using one, they're probably more likely to like another game of theirs. So those are just some examples. And the other thing that custom audience has is also lookalikes. So you can expand your audience. They're the best people to reach. Now we can actually understand and create lookalikes based on that audience.
Okay, very cool. So for Parse customers, for example, if you have a website with Parse hosting, you can easily decide to create a Parse iOS or Android app, and if you want to target the people that have signed up for your website, you can easily target the people via mobile app install ads, correct?
Yeah, and you can also then, let's say, send a different message to the males versus females.
Oh, very cool. So that's custom audiences.
Yeah.
I get it. So, we've talked a lot about the high level piece. Can you just kind of talk about how you get started? Is it complicated? Like, what is the process behind it?
It's actually, and we actually recently released a feature called One Link Flow on our Ads Create tool. So with this, it's very easy to get started. Our Ads Create tool is itself a pretty easy, intuitive tool to use, in-house tool that we have. And you can use it for all of our Facebook ads. Specifically for mobile app install ads, all you have to do is go to your App Store URL or your Google Play URL, copy and paste it into our destination box in our Ads Create tool, and it automatically knows that this is for a mobile app, so it'll send you through the specific flow for mobile app install ads.
Okay.
So you'll only have one objective, that's driving installs to your mobile app, and then the rest is just creating your custom creative to run these ads, and then putting in your bid and your targeting.
Okay, so can you do measurement through this simple flow?
Good question. So you can do clicks, and you can measure CTR, CPC, but you can't measure installs, and that's really important for developers. And in general, we recommend that you should understand your performance and your installs for your apps. So this is a great way to get started. However, over time, you should probably integrate more deeply with Facebook so that you are measuring installs and even bidding on OCPM. So how you do that is, so let's say you get started right away with our Ads Create tool. You should get started. It's very low friction with this method. Then you want to register your app with Facebook, and register your app. Provide us with just basic information. For example, if it's an iOS device, your app ID for your iPad or your iPhone, and if it's an Android device, your package name. So we have that information in. Then you also want to integrate our SDK.
Okay.
Or work with a mobile measurement partner. And that's how we measure installs. So when you do all of these, you'll be able to measure installs, but this also gives you the option to bid on OCPM. So without this, if you don't integrate with our SDK or work with a mobile measurement partner, you won't be able to bid on OCPM. And what OCPM is it allows us to optimize your bids so you're reaching people who are more likely to install your app. So on
very cool.
It is super cool. like on our back end, we're essentially learning who's more likely to install because we're understanding who's installing. And so even though you're paying per impression, those people are more likely to install.
Okay.
The other option through the Ads Create tool and One Link Flow is bidding on CPC.
Okay, so I know you mentioned mobile measurement partners, and that's your area of expertise.
Yeah.
So can you just give us some benefits to using, the MMPs, which I think is what you guys call them,
Yep.
versus the SDK?
Yeah, so regardless of whether or not you're using the Facebook SDK or an MMP, you'll still be able to see installs being attributed to your ad in our Ads Manager dashboard. If you're using the Facebook SDK, there's only one line of code that you'll need to add to your app to be able to publish installs back to us. And the Facebook SDK offers additional benefits like making it easier to build social experiences, and it has extra tools to help you put in Facebook login or share. With an MMP, what they provide is more ROI analysis. They'll be able to give you deeper analysis into different user cohorts, and they'll also be able to help you track your installs across multiple channels. So if you're buying ads not just on Facebook, but on other networks as well, they'll be able to tell you which installs came from which channels you're buying ads on.
Okay, so just high level, why would someone pick an MMP over an SDK?
Yeah, so the MMP offers those additional benefits like using, having the cross-channel attribution. So if you are spending a lot and buying ads on a lot of different networks, they'll be able to help you pull in these analytics all into one dashboard to make it easier for you to look at. On the flip side, the Facebook SDK is really great at helping you build these Facebook experiences within your app, which is something that an MMP doesn't provide.
Okay, got it. So I've been hearing a lot of buzz about on the Facebook campus about app events. And I think that's something you can tell us a little bit about and explain further.
Yeah, we actually just very recently launched it in beta last week. So all this time, Christina and I have been talking about installs and the importance of measuring installs, which we offer. App events essentially allows you to measure the total number of actions, specified actions taken within an app. We launched this with our latest SDK 3.6, iOS 3.6 last week. And this is really important because it's the first step in understanding users' engagement and LTV. So we have about 14 predefined actions and app events, such as add to cart, booking, but you can also do a custom event. So it's what's most relevant to the specific app that they want to measure. And again, I want to mention that this is in beta. It's an open beta, so anybody can use it. We have the technical documents available as long as they integrate with SDK 3.6. But we're still working on optimization for it. We're still working on better improving our insights tools to show these results better.
So you mentioned, go ahead.
Sorry, to add on to this, our mobile measurement partners will also have this within their own SDKs. We try to make parity between this type of reporting within our SDK and mobile measurement partners. So depending on which one you're working with, they'll be able to also offer this.
Okay, so you mentioned LTV. What is that? How do you define it?
So LTV is something that's very important to developers, and essentially LTV is the long-term value of the user. So installs is just the beginning, but there's so many different types of users that install your app. So it's good to understand the value of each users, and each app defines value in a different way. So it's what's important to you, and an easy explanation is purchases. So in-app purchases or a commerce purchase. So an LTV of a user can be over the lifetime of the user, how many purchases are they doing?
Okay, and a developer can define that.
Yes.
Oh, awesome. Okay, so a big problem, Christine, this is for you. A big problem with marketing in general is you measure the wrong things sometimes. Happened to me many times. How can you confirm that what you're tracking is actually what you want to be tracking?
Yeah, it's a great question. So there's two ways for you to confirm this within the Facebook dashboards. Both are on your developer page. On the summary page, there's a last mobile install reported field, which will show you a timestamp of the last time we received an install from your app. This is broken down by iOS and Android, so you can see when you're debugging and sending us install pings, you can check this dashboard and just make sure that the timestamp there matches the time that you sent the ping over. The other method, also through the developer dashboard, is on the mobile app install insights page. it'll give you a graph of the number of installs we're seeing. And so from there, you can check that the volume of installs that you're sending over to us are being reflected in this graph. And this is also broken down by iOS and Android too.
Okay, so do you support other app stores like Amazon App Store or Windows?
Yeah, it's a good question. Right now we don't. We're trying to focus on the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store and make sure that we're really driving a great experience to those stores first.
Okay, great. So you mentioned a couple of internal insight tools other than MMP. Can you go through those?
Yeah, so one is the developer dashboard, which we talked about. On this dashboard, there's an Insights tab, and within that Insights tab, there's a mobile app section. From there, you'll be able to see your installs. This is both organic and paid, so the total number of installs that your app is getting. And that dashboard also offers the demographic breakdown, so the age range of your users, what countries they're in, and what languages they speak. The other dashboard that we provide is on the ad side. So when you start running ads, there's an Ads Manager dashboard, and this will show you things related to your ad performance. So specifically for mobile app install ads, it'll show you impressions, clicks, and installs, and then we'll also do a few calculations for things like CTR or your CPI, just things that people who are running these mobile app install ads are looking at.
And what about A/B? Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, just to add to that too. So with our App Insights tool, which measures the overall health of your app, so paid, organic, installs through Facebook or not, it's actually a great way to understand who to target and who to reach.
Okay.
So with that, broken, like Christine said, broken down by demographic, which gender, which age, which country is installing your apps the most. So based on that, you can understand who should I target, who is the relevant audience for my app. So it's a great way to also help you with targeting.
Okay, cool. So I'm not sure who can answer this best, but A/B testing is something that's a really big deal with ads. How do you do that with this platform?
Yeah, so we don't really have a good holdout system, but what we do recommend is when you create a campaign, within that campaign, all of the ad groups inside of that should have the same targeting. And then each individual ad group that you have might differ a little bit. So one might have a little bit different text, another one might have a different image, another one might have a different call to action, something like that. And then we'd recommend that you run all these ads at the same time. And our system, when all these ads are in the same campaign, they'll actually find the ad that's performing the best and show that ad more often.
And the one thing I'd add to that is it's really important to keep your targeting variables the same. So like Christine said, you want to change your assets and your text to understand which text and assets work best, but you want to make sure that you're only targeting iPad, for example, or iPhone, or targeting the same gender or whatever targeting capabilities that you created, because that will affect it too. And you want to make sure you're optimizing reach for that specific audience.
Okay, is there a way to clone an ad perhaps and just change the image and the text?
Yeah, that's very possible through Power Editor and even an Ads Manager.
Okay, so that would be probably the easiest way.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. So Christine, this is for you. What are the different attribution windows that you can measure?
Yeah, on our Ads Manager report, by default, we show a 1-day view-through and a 28-day click-through window. So what this means is for 1-day view-through, the user will see the ad, they won't click on it, and then they'll independently go and install the app within 1 day. 28-day click-through is very similar. It's clicking on the ad, and then within 28 days going and installing the app. Within Ads Manager, we also give you the flexibility to view by a few other attribution windows, which are 1, 7, and 28-day, both view and click-through.
Okay, and how do you define installs?
So for us, an install is when a user downloads, installs, and opens the app. Upon that open, that's when the Facebook SDK or the Mobile Measurement Partners SDK will ping back the install to us so that we know that it happened.
Okay, so what if you want to measure, track acquisitions from Facebook? Is that possible right now?
Yeah, so for developers to do it themselves, we don't really provide a way for them to measure attribution individually. We surface this in aggregate in our Ads Manager reports.
Okay, so Neha, you mentioned the Ads Create tool. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, so the Ads Create tool is a great way to get started. It has a easy flow, and it has most of our targeting capabilities available through the Ads Create tool. We also have two different ways of running ads, any of our Facebook ads, including mobile app install ads. There's Power Editor, and I briefly mentioned that earlier.
Yeah.
So Power Editor is essentially the one benefit of Power Editor relative to the Ads Create tool is it's a great way to do bulk uploads right now. So
Okay.
let's say you want to run hundreds of campaigns in-house, and you want a more efficient way to do that, like copy and paste, and so everything's the same, easy change. Power Editor allows you to do that.
Okay.
And then the third option is preferred marketing developers. So preferred marketing developers, they're people that specialize in managing, optimizing, and scaling your ad campaigns. So we recommend that when you get started, you should get started right away with the Ads Create tool. However, when you're ready to scale, preferred marketing developers are a great way to scale, especially if you don't have the in-house resources to manage your ad campaign full-time.
Okay, very cool. So you mentioned is it the PMDs? How do you get started with a PMD?
So there's a directory online. So we have a website for the PMDs, which has a directory. And in the directory, there's actually a form which provides all the capabilities that you're looking for as an advertiser or developer. So in this case, for mobile app install ads, if you're interested in actually driving mobile installs, you check that off as one of your objectives, and it will filter for all the PMDs that offer that capability. So then you have a list of PMDs that offer that capability, and we encourage you to just talk to them and ask all the questions possible, because every PMD is a little bit different in what they offer.
Okay, very cool. So we're going to jump into some audience questions. So if you want to submit a question, simply click the green button, type your question, click submit, and we're going to get to as many of those as possible. So let's see what we have right now. This one is for Neha. What are some tips you have on creating a more What are some tips you have on having a more impactful creative?
Great question. This is really important, more important than I think sometimes people realize. So based on how you do your creative and how you optimize it, it can, like just by following simple tips, you can increase your performance. We've seen a 40% increase on just basic tips.
Wow.
So like some examples are having a clear call to action. So just make sure that the text that you have is clear on what you're trying to drive. You know, it is installing, but making it very clear what the call to action for the app is. Simple things like showing the mobile device. So you can target Android, you can target different tablets, you can target smartphones. Showing that device actually makes a big difference, because this is mobile feed. There are lots of stories coming. It's a great, clear reminder that we're actually talking about a mobile app. Another thing is, you know, the actual asset for the creative matters a lot. So in addition to showing a device, it's making sure that you have real life examples. If not real life examples, if it's a game, maybe having a screenshot of the game, something that makes you understand what the experience is going to be like in the app.
Okay.
And then refreshing. Like try to refresh it as often as possible so it doesn't get stale when people look at it. Sometimes people don't install the app on the first ad that they see, and they may install it after seeing it a couple of times. So you want to make sure that you're always refreshing the creative so it resonates with the audience.
Okay, got it. So our next question comes from Serini. It's about app events. How big is the attribution window for app events? And I believe this one is, he doesn't say who it's for, so
Yeah,
Christine?
I'll take it. For Facebook, all of the events that come through are based on the same attribution window. So for app events, it's going to be the same 1-day view through and 28-day click through.
Okay, very cool. And the second part, sorry I missed that, is how many days after ad click will events be tracked and attributed?
That'll be the 28 days. So if
Okay.
a user clicks on it and then within 28 days somehow goes and does this event, we'll be able to attribute that.
Okay, and this one's for you, Christine, as well. Do we have any case studies about mobile app install ads or some success stories?
Yeah, definitely. We've got a bunch. One of them is Kabam, which after running mobile app install ads, they saw that the users acquired from their ads had a 50% higher lifetime value than users from other channels. There is another case study from O2, a UK telecommunications company, that ran mobile app install ads for a very short period of time, for just 3 days. And in those 3 days, they were able to chart to number 6 in the App Store.
Okay.
And we've heard in general, case studies and examples are really helpful, especially because the performance and experience can vary by verticals. So we actually have a bunch of these case studies available online. So Poshmark, Hotel Tonight, there are a few other gaming ones, even finance examples.
Okay. So we have a great question from Brad.
Yeah.
He is a smaller company, smaller developer. What are some ways I can manage mobile app install ads effectively and only dedicate a half an hour or so per day?
So as a small developer, I'd say the Ads Create tool is the best way. So start testing, and even when you test, the one thing that is important, which I haven't mentioned, is start broad. You actually don't want to start, even as a small developer, you don't want to start too narrow. For example, using all the broad categories, precise interests. There's so many options. But if you combine all of them together, you can get pretty narrow. And we suggest start broad. Even as a small developer, start broad, test, see what kind of results you get, and that is not going to take you much time. Have 5 or to 10 creatives to test, and then see what results you get. I would say after that, once you start scaling, you should try to see if it's worth your investment based on the performance you see, spending more time on it.
Okay. So that's actually all the time we have. Would you guys like to have add anything to that?
So the one thing I want to make sure, I reiterated testing a lot, but the other thing I just want to make sure that everyone knows is that a lot of this information is available online. So we do have a tutorial that goes through all the steps in more detail that we talked about, in addition to other resources and examples.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you everyone for watching. Just a quick note, we have Parse Developer Day on September 5th in San Francisco. We'd love to have you there. These guys will be there, I'll be there, the entire Parse team will be there, and we'll have tons of interesting information. If you'd like to join us, go to www.parsedeveloperday.com. And thanks for attending. We hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.